If you want to turn on your camera, you can. If not, that's cool. There we go, David joining the cam team.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah. That's what we like. People being comfortable is quite important.
It's only for show my pretty face. That's it.
Yeah, but I like it.
He's
So
just only a marketing video.
I like it, so that's good. So I thought when people come and go and are a bit being random with their login and stuff, why don't we just quickly introduce ourselves a little bit, skipping me obviously. So I don't know, Antoine, do you feel comfortable just giving you a small introduction?
Yes, no problem. So I'm junior lighting artist for Supermassive Games in Guildford. So that's it.
Cool.
I mean, cinematic lighting artist mostly.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Same
That's
for me.
amazing.
A pleasure.
Cool. The next person would be Arthur if he fixes his microphone at all.
Hello guys. You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, cool. All right. So my name is Arthur, and I've been working for EA and Cloud Imperium Games for a couple of years, and at the moment I'm working for FunPlus. I'm back in China, so yeah, I'm a lighting lead at the moment. So starting a new journey. Thanks, Amit, for having me. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to be here.
Congrats.
Congratulations for your move.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I saw that.
Cool. Let's see. After 2 years, I have 2 screens now, so it's a bit unusual. Asimbo. I don't know how to pronounce your name.
Yeah, hello. Currently a student. I stay in Dubai right now. I'm not gonna be dropping my portfolio. I don't really have a set portfolio for now, but I feel like just looking and reviewing, or just staying for the review is gonna give me a lot of helpful tips. So I'm really hyped to meet you guys and see a lot of professionals and learn a lot from them.
Cool. Quarantine.
Hey,
Just to
so
be sure,
Yes,
possibly.
yeah.
we hear you. That's fine.
Is my camera working properly though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It switches between low and high quality where we see you.
Okay, cool.
And your godlike background of exposure as well.
exposure. Like you need some local exposure in real life.
Much volumetrics.
Sorry, Quarantine, your turn.
So yeah, I'm Corentin, and I'm currently a senior lighting artist at Haven Studios in Montreal. And yeah.
Cool. So I should actually know how to pronounce his name because we did have him last on the interview on the YouTube, but obviously I forgot it quickly. So sorry about that.
You have a phonetic Corentin. I know it's hard to pronounce.
Corentin.
Yeah, that's
I'll practice every day now. I'll practice in the mornings. Corentin.
You should be good in a week.
Yeah, I
More
should.
than a couple of days.
David.
Well, I am David. I work in Volkswagen. Okay, normally I work like environment artist and lighting artist. So I try to move in right now to a studio or something like that. Okay, something more in video games. But well, I'm trying to make change in my life right now.
Cool.
It's nice, man.
Fahad.
Hey, so hi everyone, Fahad here. I'm a 3D artist and I'm specializing in environment art and hard surface design. Previously, I worked for Quixel as a 3D asset artist, and then I worked on VR projects for aviation and transportation industry, particularly with Airbus.
Cool.
And here I am now. So I've just recently relocated to UK from Pakistan.
Nice.
Nice, bro.
Next up is Justin, if you are there.
Yep, I'm there. Hey everybody, I'm Justin. I'm just starting off as a lighting artist, so doing about a year, so just learning.
Nice. And Vishesh, our new moderator. Your turn.
Thank you. So I'm Vishesh. Nice to meet you all. So I'm currently an intermediate lighting artist at Technicolor, and I've been working in the industry for the last like five to 5.5 years. I have a background with 2D concept art and 3D environment art. after that, like we transition to lighting art slowly. So like lighting and cinematography is where my passion resides. So I'm still learning and experimenting every single day, and it's definitely nice to be here and meet you all.
Cool.
Nice to meet you, man.
Nice.
Yusuf.
I'm Yusuf. My interests are hard surface modeling right now, but I really like to dabble in composition and visual effects sometimes as well. So, yeah, I picked up Nuke recently actually, so that's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Cool. All right, that's luckily we're not that many. So I just realized this channel can only have 25 people apparently. So even if everyone did came, there wouldn't be enough space apparently with camera on at least. All right, cool. That's the introduction of the place. Now, we are hopefully having Quentin and Arthur will be assisting in the portfolio review, but because, you know, it's more of a community thing, and I prefer giving most of the attention to Quentin and Arthur Yang to do the portfolio review first. For you two, you guys can look at the portfolio review channel on top, and there's 3 portfolio that we have been asked to look at. And Quentin, you are always confident and comfortable. So do you want to go first on one of them, and do you want to share your screen when you do it, or do you want me to share my screen and kind of hover around?
I can share it for sure.
Yeah.
Let me. Okay.
And then Arthur can jump in after like each piece. We can all have a talk about it, I suppose, and if we agree or disagree, because that's the beauty of this, because there's no guarantee that we actually agree on what we're saying.
That's true, and everyone has their different opinions, so let's see.
And also, Yusuf, can you mute yourself, because you have this loud background
sorry.
noise. Thank you, man. Let's click watch stream.
Yeah.
Nice.
Do that. Sorry, Sabri.
So, this one is the first one?
Yeah.
Okay, David. Oh, I saw that one, but I'm not logged in. Do you still see my screen right now?
Yeah, we see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I'm gonna record that.
David is actually obviously here, so if you want to ask questions or anything, he can probably answer as well.
Oh,
Alright.
sure. Yeah, but I mean, is there anything you wanna do you wanna review specific on one, or it's in general, or I mean,
No, it's something more general, okay? It's because, like I say, I am work right now, like in a engineer company, so I try to move into video games. So I try to adapt my portfolio a little bit to be more easier to enter in a studio or something like that. Okay, so any recommendations sound nice to me.
okay. But first of all, we can see that you have interest in lighting. I mean, when I look at the portfolio right now, I was like, okay, there is a mood and moody artwork and stuff like that. So first of all, I think yeah, it's kind of it's kind of cool. You have cool realistic stuff here. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you guys want to jump in and at the same time. Yeah, we
Yeah, I
can,
mean, Arthur, if he has something he noticed as well.
Yeah, if you want, you can check only the 3 first one, and that's it. Okay,
Those?
because
Okay.
yeah, because I thought that it's too much if we get all the
Yeah, yeah.
portfolio.
Okay. So it's I mean it's a pretty difficult exercise to look at something and just do like I don't wanna.
Yeah, that's true.
You want me to take over first?
You can, yeah, and yeah.
Because I will go through a lot if I do it. But I can do around, and then you and Arthur can jump in and disagree or fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
Because obviously I'm far more critical.
Yeah, you can be tough. Don't worry, man. Believe me.
But,
I really appreciate.
Let's see, which is what screen? This is this screen, so we share this one. And we pull this down, I guess.
So you're sharing your screen too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you guys see it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. So you said general, but I'm gonna give you several things that I noticed, which is my viewpoint. If you look at a lot of your pieces, this is my personal opinion. I think this one is pretty decent, but obviously it's a bit old as well.
Yeah, it's really
Obviously there are certain things that catches my attention, which is like the way you place the shadow and the crispiness of the shadows.
Yeah, art shadow.
So these things I notice. So if I was reviewing this for a lighting artist job, I would be looking at these kind of details, which I am. In this case, I am looking at recruiting new people, so I am looking at these things. The intensity of the light, like these light bulbs and this neon, I see it across your pieces in general. So I will only say it once, but this is like super glowy, super bright, and light like these in when the daylight is kind of daylight, they wouldn't be as bright, stuff like that, and this light would be brighter as well. So yeah, these are some observation which I've seen in a couple of pieces already, but that's my initial thought for now. Does Arthur or Konta, do you have any input on this?
Me, it's almost the same comment. Like the first thing I saw is the really sharp shadows from the light coming from the top, but it's a detail. And yeah, we don't. I mean, it seems like it's an old with an I don't know, a CGI. What? Okay, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, we maybe we need to feel a bit more like the light coming from the sun, hitting the ground and bouncing on the wall. Like, yeah, maybe you should put the focus first on this, light the scene only with this, and then add those small practical lights. But yeah, they are really bright, like really glowy. That's the main comment for this. Like, we want to feel the GI more like a warmy, bright sun lighting all the scene.
Cool. Arthur, do you have some input? I'm sure you have some.
Yeah, so I kind of agree, but I think from one of so basically the main light source is coming from outside, and when there's enough natural light, it's basically gonna be pretty brighter than the artificial light. So you can stop right there on this frame. Yeah, I think this one is kind of like the artificial light is taking over the natural lighting, and I agree. So we can having more bounce from the skylight. I mean, if you're really like an overcasting kind of a situation, then the room will be darker, and the artificial light is going to take over the brightness. And yeah, but if it's like a sunny daylight, it always like the natural light will be always the strong light.
Right.
Also, just one last thing. Oh, that's I don't know.
Yes, sound like a robot or something.
He's on his cell phone, I think, so that's why it's gonna be on and off
Just
for
one
him.
I think I want to add. It's the there is kind of an exposure issue. We should there is something weird with the HDRI. Maybe we should it should be brighter because the exposure is made for the interior and not the exterior. Like,
It's possible because this one is actually brighter on this one and it's darker here.
Yeah, this kind of work is like on demand. Okay, they told me like, okay, David, we want to some pictures like brighter than the other one.
Okay.
Cool.
More darker. In the video that you have right there, you saw like the sun moving and all this stuff.
So this one is obviously better than this one, but still these two are probably the most critical feedback from both of them. Now the question I am asking Arthur and Coronta is, should he keep it in the portfolio or should he remove it?
That's pretty difficult. I mean, it's not a bad piece. Like there is some stuff. I don't know if you have still access to the scene and you can re-render it with the fix. We said like the source radius from the bulb light on the left to make all the light the shadow a bit more blurry and stuff like that. If you can make those small changes, for sure you can keep it. But overall, it's not a bad scene for me, I guess. Like you're not applying for like a senior lighting artist position or a lead lighting artist. I don't know if it's only my opinion, guys. What do you think?
It depends, obviously, as you say, on what his aim is and his goals are. But he does have other pieces, so we don't need to.
Yeah.
So let's just we're gonna skip this one because it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Let's go for a night time. This is should we go for the one of the latest one, I guess, because that's 2 months old. So what are your thoughts, either Arthur or Granta? You can go on and voice your opinion on this one.
I need to analyze and think about it just for a sec. Can you go down? Like,
Me under the table or just scrolling?
yeah, just go scroll down. Sorry. Can you go down? Sorry.
Gives you time to think, no?
Yeah. For me, it's more like the sense of I don't know the not the depth or like the gigantic. It's kind of okay. It's working better in the video for sure. You have really a black dark shadow. Maybe it's something that you can.
Yeah, maybe I can play with contrast or something like that.
Yeah. Or maybe like the light coming. What is the source light? There is something above or
Yeah,
you, like that.
You have like a cave, okay, and in the top of the cave you have like the 2 or 3 big rocks with a big space in the middle, so the sun's coming down.
Or maybe it might be cool to try, I don't know, to add some more bounce or fake more bounce coming from this source. I don't know, just to get like, for example, here this the second just scroll down this one. You have really I don't understand the really dark shadow in the middle on the path on the bridge. There is on the ground there is a black shadow. For example, this one is kind of weird.
Yeah.
I just saw it. It's in the middle.
Arthur, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I agree with the dark shadow thing. Yeah, so it can be a little bit more smooth. I mean, the edge or the connections, and also the I'm not quite sure about the front door. There's 4 light sources. It's kind of like intentional. So if I would think I would think about the way we move to, or maybe just try something else. I don't know yet. Maybe just the natural light coming from up there and try to door. Yeah. So because also we focus on this one. The intention is from the green light from underneath. So I'm sure if you put that into there, I think the brightness is down there, especially on the left bottom corner. It's the brightest spot, so it's kind of like taking away the tension from the main door. Yeah, the last thing I would say is the atmosphere.
You cut out there at the end, even though you.
No.
I guess it's just me or the voice was.
And now he has bad connection. But basically, what he was saying it was the balance of the light. It is very bright on the bottom left. Is conflicting with the attention. That's kind of what he was trying to say. I agree with it. You just have to pick up on the keywords what he's saying, but obviously it's easier for us because we understand what the keywords mean.
Yeah, also like it's this like the same issue as the first one. All your practical, the small light, they are, for me, they are really they are too bright and they attract the attention too much. And yeah, for example, I think it's what Arthur said, like the four. Can you show another view, like from the in the front? Yeah, it seems to be really a big. I mean, I think it's the intention you want to, like, it's a big door, and I can like don't understand those huge candle, the four candle. They are like, is it candle or
No,
The-
it's a torch. It's for torch.
okay, it seems like a candle. Sorry, but I think anyway, even if it's torch, like it's I think it's too bright. I don't know how much. Yeah, maybe you can rebalance all. Yeah,
Yeah, I understand what you mean, and I agree. Arthur was also kind of pinpointing the same things. So for me, it's the same things. It's very dark, but I actually told you that before already. So now you have two other people agreeing. The size of the lights are also kind of conflicting. The intensity of the lights are conflicting. When I say conflicting, I mean competing for attention, but also is it realistic? You know, because this is a very huge gate normally when you open it up,
Yeah.
and you want to make sure that you don't. The torchlight doesn't really go that far, so at the most it would be around here. The same goes for this. I think this is okay, but you know, there's a lot of bright spot, there's top lighting going on, and this takes a lot of attention. And as Arthur was saying, one of the last things he said before he had some issues, where is it, that image? Same here, it's super bright, so if we turn this into black and white, you know, most of the attention would be here, and then it goes into the middle. So one thing that also I find that could use improvement, I think you have an interesting color palette. You're working with the type of greenish orange. I think that works fine. I don't have a
Yep.
problem with that, but the saturation is a lot. It's a lot. It's you are on the right track in terms of color theory and color understanding, but this is like very saturated, and then you have a
yeah,
bit
especially
desaturated. You know, it doesn't make sense. So you want to kind of make sure they're in the same saturation range or value range, so it kind of is more connected, and it doesn't like go too much towards saturation. But that's my thought. What do you two think?
Yeah, and I kind of agree with that, and I have other like two other things that I don't really understand where the light come from. Where is your mouse right now? I don't understand those bounce under the bridge on the cliff, like the red one on the right and the left on the those
lights.
area. It should be like green instead, I think, like the light coming from the bottom instead of because like it's almost like you have a light here, like a point light here to bounce or something. That those are kind of weird. Maybe I'll try to remove them and I don't know, put some green instead. Just it will. And the other thing is like it's a matter of like level art and modeling. It's more like the bridge feels a bit on the left part of the bridge, the curve. We can feel like I need to share my screen. It's difficult because you can see my mouse. Let me. I'll try to share my screen. Application. Go back. Sorry.
I'll stop my stream for a little bit.
Give me a sec. I can go back. We just need to grab the link again. Here. Okay, I have it. Share my screen. Okay. Can you see it?
Yeah.
So yeah, here you can see the curve here. It's not, I don't know, it's not the same here and here, and we can feel like there is a cut here in the angle, like tack. Look, I will like do a smoother, something like that. Maybe I don't know, but it's a detail, but it's like a something more like this.
If you wanted to fix it anyway, this is part of an asset packet, luckily. So.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
And yeah, the issue was for me like, well, yeah, it's really bright here. I don't. Maybe it'll be cool to add like the green coming up like here, to here. I don't know. Or maybe this light can like lead this part a bit, but not. I don't. Or maybe here you can feel maybe a small, not a shadow because it's not a strong light, but maybe we can feel like it's darker here and a bit of yellow red here, maybe just a bit. I don't know, but I kind of like this. This one is cool.
All right.
Yeah.
That's good.
And those bounds too. I don't understand those here.
And
Like this.
lastly, to make things difficult for him, let me share my screen again, because I want to make sure we get through everything before it gets too much time as well. See my screen.
But overall, I want to just to finish. It's a cool scene. It's just there is just small stuff missing that you can improve, and it will be a really cool image.
Alright.
I think.
Is there anything you see? Arthur is trying to fix his network, so he's away for a bit. But do you see anything you would recommend removing from the portfolio, or do you think you should keep everything?
Okay, I'll go back again. Okay, the one I will not keep is the angel in the dark. I've seen this scene too much, like because I spent times in the Unreal documentation and stuff like that. So I think I see the scene too much, but it's more like it's not because of the lighting, but just the scene you choose. But other than that. Let me check the other one. One is kind of cool. Yeah, I like this one too. The battle cave. It's kind of cool.
Okay.
There is stuff you can improve for sure, but yeah, overall, and this one a bit too blue maybe. Yeah, the corridor, like it's the night the night scene. It's the same for me. It's the same issue. All your practical light are really strong. Really, there is a huge bloom.
Yeah, for me it's a bit flat too. I think you could use more contrast. I think.
Yeah, darker and brighter. Yeah, those will the two I'll remove maybe.
So you're saying remove Angel in the Dark and Corridor?
And if you can improve Corridor, keep it, but like this, maybe I'll remove it. But once again, it's like, I mean, the portfolio is kind of, if you apply like for, I don't know, which is like junior or lighting, like, I mean, it's a good base, like you have stuff, you can show maybe try a daylight from, I don't know, outside or something like more like a natural environment outside I'll show, but other than that, in terms of light or lighting, like you have stuff to show, so yeah.
I would definitely consider, I mean, you have one major weakness, which is you overbloom all your lights. It's like everything is like super bright, which in some cases makes sense, but in a lot of your scenes it does not. So I think this is the latest piece lighting. So way it's less problematic in terms of brightness, but even there it's pretty bright. And why is it bright? Well, because of the way neon lights work, the way fluorescent light work, the exposure work, but also the range of intensity of your light. If it doesn't make sense, if the light is very intense, then generally you would have very intense light too. But you have to get comfortable, as I've said, is with the intensity and the range of the light if you want to keep it super bright. In this case, they are super bright in the middle, then they kind of fade off. But yeah, generally that's the feedback for you, I guess. Do you have any thing you want to say, David, before we move on?
No, first of all, thank you. I really, really appreciate it. Okay, well, like I say, I try to move in right now to a new company or something like that. So that advice sounds really nice to me. Okay, I'm gonna delete these two and I try to fix all the advice that you give me.
Yeah.
Just one thing you can do that will help you a lot, I think, is to play with all the source radius of all your lights. It will
Alright.
help you a lot to get like shadow like smoother shadow and blurry. So think about that when you, especially with a candle, like a bulb light and stuff like that. Like you can play with that. Even with sometime, even if it's not physically accurate or something, but I tend to play also on the sun with that, just to get like a blurry shadow, smoother shadow. Anyway, just yeah.
Cool.
Try
Alright.
to consider it.
Yeah, so for Arthur who just joined, he will be typing most of the time for me to read. But Arthur, you can type in the portfolio review actually, so everyone can read it. So, but what we said while you were trying to fix your sound is we said remove angel in the dark, and we said remove corridor unless he fixes it. Isn't that right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I would also fix Nautilus City. But again, you have the same issue here as well. It's super bright. So when I look at this, if I were to hire it, this is enough for me to go no. Personally, when I look at junior recruitment, I go, okay, this person hasn't figured out the basic of exposure and the range. So I'm pretty strict when it comes to these details. So I would definitely.
Actually,
fix
if
it.
you have multiple candidates, like yeah.
Yeah, which you always have, generally speaking.
Yeah.
And well, you should at least. Hopefully that was helpful, David, and not too
Yeah.
harsh.
No, don't worry.
Cool. Next one is Youssef. You have warmed up, Quentin, so I think you can start, and Arthur, you can probably look at the stuff and start typing your thoughts on whatever you want to pick on. And Quentin, you can look at the stuff and give your viewpoint.
Okay. So this one, the thing that like I see directly is like there is an exposure contrast issue. It's kind of it's really flat. Like yeah, there is something, I don't know. Yeah, there is something wrong between like this and the fact that we see the sun like this. I don't know if it's yeah, I need to figure out, like, let me play the video. Can you see the video or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you have some, Amit, if you're on this image, especially if you have something like, for me, it's like, it's really this, like, it seems really flat.
Yeah, no, technically I've given feedback on this one before we posted it, but I'll repeat it.
Okay.
I agree in the sense that what's going on is it's a low light, right? So the light he's placed is a bit higher than the sun. That's the one thing I noticed. And the second thing I noticed is generally the shadow is missing at the back. Even though I know someone suggested to brighten it, I don't agree with whoever said that. I do think you need to have the back helmet a bit darker, because you know it's facing against the exposure, it's facing against the light, and that would have been more interesting, I think, and maybe shape more towards the right side. But also you lose the shape of the helmet. I think the way it's been done now, it's very hard to really notice for me that it's some kind of machinery or helmet, or so I would probably have placed it differently as well. Second thing, you have a rock in the middle on the right side. You could have probably worked more on that as well, get the shadows there to place. But I think the biggest concern is the flatness, that you have brightened it up too much in the shadow, and you're losing the shadow that comes towards the camera, which might be a conscious choice, and it's fine, but I think it would have been more interesting if you had a bit more darker creases under the helmet and at the side of the helmet. I think that would have sold the piece a bit more, but that's my thoughts on that. Arthur, do
you have a light coming from this? From us?
There's a hotspot on the little round thing on the helmet, the eye or whatever. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, this one here?
Yeah, it's suggesting another light somewhere filling in, because
it's almost like if there was like a I don't know, a source light coming from the helmet. Is it a helmet or?
That's what I'm saying. It actually, I'm not actually sure, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah. Amit calls it a helmet. It's actually, the main intent was a cockpit. So yeah. But I mean, it's fine. Sorry.
So a cockpit means a big cockpit, yes?
Something like that. Yeah.
So how big would it be? Bigger than a person?
Yes. Yeah.
So then
I
don't think
it's a spaceship, okay, or a craft, like, okay. So yeah, it's difficult to understand the.
Then my second feedback would be you could have used more scale. Yeah, definitely you need more scale. And if it's a cockpit, you definitely would have had more shadow. I would have placed it further in the image, not this close actually. I would have used other smaller things that's proper scaled, more of the grass.
To give the sense of scale, because right now it's almost, if I look at something really small and something like small props and a helmet or something, because there is you have this huge, that the depth field, and maybe something that we used to know the size in real life, not a character, but something, and something else. All those rocks feel like small pebble, like, and even those small grass.
And
there is something wrong with the scale in general.
Yeah. And Arthur is writing to me. He's saying the scattering on the horizon should match the sun. Basically, it's too blue, because if
he's right, totally.
It's sunset and everything. So he has a good reference image he sent me. I'll see if I can pull it down. So this is.
Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast.
This is the reference image. He's showing quickly to give an idea of the scattering, and that's true as well. You don't really have a lot of blue when there's a sunset, especially if you've been to Bordeaux and the Atlantic and generally speaking anywhere really where you can see a lot of sunset all the time. You don't have this blue. Which you have this blue in your image. Where is it? Here. It's foggy. It's bluish. So that's probably also something to work on, I suppose. Yeah.
Can you? Is it possible to send me the reference that you sent? I can't find it.
Yeah, Arthur can post it in portfolio review himself.
Okay, sure.
Since it's his feedback, so he can take the.
But even before the lighting, I'll work on the storytelling of the image, like the way you place the spacecraft and the silhouette. What do you want to tell with this image, and rework the scale a bit?
Yeah, definitely the scale.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
But I kind of like the idea of those two shape, like it's the same shot in the, I think it's the last Star Wars, like the last scene you can see BB-8 and is like it's the mirror with the sun. I kind of like the idea, but we need to understand what but we need to understand what we're looking for, so maybe working on this before.
So if anyone asks you, it's not a cockpit anymore, it's a helmet.
Yeah, for me it was an helmet. Like
you don't tell anyone it's a helmet because especially if you have an interview and you say it's a cockpit, even though you're doing lighting, your portfolio says hard surface modeling and environment modeling, which means you really need to nail the scale and the storytelling of your modeling skills basically. And right now you have super small rocks, so it should be inverted. These should be bigger, the grass should be smaller. You should even use I don't remember the proper term, but different scale in the background so you can see the scale.
Yeah.
I do understand you probably thought indirectly, unconsciously, that the sun would maybe show the scale or something, but the fact is you have these foreground elements really gives the idea that this is not a cockpit, because look
the
at
depth of field too.
yeah, just look at the grass, like it's almost 1/4 size of your cockpit, and it's supposed to be bigger than a human, right?
Yeah.
And that's also why your lighting seems off, because when you have a bigger object, the lighting should feel different as well.
Yeah.
So that's also why Quentin says it looks off, because all of the light are hitting and it looks like small objects rather than big objects.
Yeah.
And Arthur posted the reference picture in the portfolio review text channel right above us, so if you want to grab it, you can.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, I think that's the feedback on that. My second feedback is overall on your portfolio. Actually, it says Showreel 2021 and it says Spore. I would change it to whatever the main image would be, and you don't have a main image.
Yeah, for sure, definitively, yeah. That's what, like, when I click on the first thing I saw was like, oh, we should see like 2 cool images instead of text.
Yeah, so because now I have to go through all of your stuff.
Yeah, and it seems like you have cool stuff to show, and especially if you want some engagement, like in the art station, you want people like look at your stuff, you have to show them a cool thing to click.
Yeah, so here I would definitely have maybe like lots of small thumbnail, like or like 5 of your key best pieces, and then when I look at the thumbnail, it shows me like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like 6 thumbnails showing me. Okay, if I click, I'll see one of these 6 or all 6 of these. So that's what I would do. Or you could do like a crossover, you know, when you have like vertical lines and you show like just a little bit of everything. That's also possible, but in your case I would have thumbnails within this that's like smaller. The same with the Spore. But I don't know what it is. I have to click and I have to go in and have a look. So again, I would have done the same. I would pick like this shot is pretty cool.
This one is cool. Yeah, this one is cool.
So
yeah,
this
really.
could be your thumbnail. That's enough to get people curious and this is cool. I want to have a look. So that's my quick feedback on that one. Arthur, if you have any, I'm purposely keeping to speaking, so you have time to.
Can you click on the Last of Us one after? Okay.
This one.
Yeah. And just one question: your portfolio, is it for like more applying for a lighting job or modeling or?
So initially I started out as like environment stuff, and then I kind of merged into like hard surface, and like it's more like modeling right now rather than lighting or environment. That's like my main interest right now.
Okay, so if it's for modeling, you should, for example, you need to work a lot on, for example, the first thing we reviewed, like showing maybe like a turnover like around the spaceship and put the emphasis on it, like showing like a cool thing. And so yeah, you can definitely keep the TIE interceptor. But
cool.
Yeah, this one I'm not sure for.
Yeah.
It's
an old one anyway. I'll
yeah.
probably remove it.
It's
interesting. I think this one you can remove. Yeah.
But it's flat as well, and the composition is could use some work, I think, as well.
A bit noisy too.
Yeah.
It seems like
So you have this interesting
in the texture.
old indirect looks like subsurface scattering for some reason, but it's probably not. This the kind of small details coming around. I think it's also very cramped the way you've modeled and presented it, so you can't really see, is this a flat background, does this go in and then to the right?
Yeah, the sense of the perspective.
You know, stuff like that. Arthur, just feel free to type anything anytime. I'll read it up when it pops up. This is pretty cool, but at the same time, I say this to everyone who does modeling, because I do obviously review people's modeling if I have to. And the number thing I say, whoever is doing modeling, is you have to pick stuff that I think is unique, that not everyone has done. And there's a lot of TIE fighters on our station. So unless you're very confident that you really have gone really to the detail, which is, it's not a bad TIE fighter at all. So I don't know if you're showing any close-up.
No. For me, it's a bit too shiny.
Yeah, very reflective.
Like it's a bit more matte, the finish of the TIE fighter paint, like less. Especially, I don't have the ref right now, but there is a guy right now working on an amazing shader in Blender. I don't know if you saw it on Twitter or somewhere. He's doing like a kind of airbrush paint shader on and it's really cool. It's a bit more matte, and you can see like a bit of even I think that a TIE fighter, even if it's brand new, it's a bit more flat, the less shiny.
And just to tell what Arthur's saying, he's writing in the portfolio of each chat, so you can actually see what he's typing. But he's saying, but just for the stream recording as well, he's saying the thumbnail, you can try specific 1:1 ratio for better composition rather than just a cutoff from your work. I should probably follow his advice, because I'm super lazy when it comes to this myself. The TIE fighter is pretty cool, which Arthur also agrees on. I do think you could use, like, it doesn't matter if you're a lighting artist or not, you really need to know lighting when you present your props and pieces anyway, so you could really work more on presenting your piece in different ways if you wanted to, you know, with sharper highlights. It's very suitable for TIE fighter and Star Wars anyway. Different color, red, blue kind of type is also very useful. I also recommend people to write something below. I don't know why people skip that, but I'm assuming it's a texture, it's a detail. I don't actually know for sure. So some detail and information about what it is, I think, is very useful.
Just one thing on this image that just above, like the the one with the panel with all the detail. Yeah, same. It's a bit. I think it's a bit too shiny. When I look at it, the first thing I saw is the huge highlight, like the reflection on the right side. You should like turn your the mesh a bit. Maybe add some a bit of AO or something like that. Maybe a small small emissive a point, like I don't know, just to add some life a bit, like it seems a bit flat, or a
little bit of shadow wouldn't hurt as well.
Yeah.
Also, I do recommend people to write something more in the description. Like, I got to practice and learn a lot of new modeling technique with this project. When I read this, I go, okay, well, what did you practice and learn? I want you to articulate it. I don't want to ask you during an interview. I want to know, okay, is this worthy? Should I interview him because he's able to showcase what he's practicing and what he's learned? Because I'm reviewing it, but I don't know what you were practicing and learning. So if you tell me ahead of time, I will probably more kinder when I judge, because it's telling me what to practice, and I will look at it and go, okay, he did a good job with this, and I will ignore other stuff because you're specifically saying this is what I was practicing on and nothing else. And Otto is saying he agree with the detailed panel. He also suggests some more material variation. They look like the same material. So
it's too shiny.
Here again, I teach this in my mentorship for the lighting artists too, but here it comes down to also deciding what's rougher, what's more metal. It's all the same, and that's not a good thing really, because the thing with metal is it's not that easy to light metal because it's metal. It doesn't give the same quality. That's why we use a lot of roughness. If you look at Decogon assets, it has a lot of good roughness and metal balance. So
Yeah.
this is super. It's very specular. You know, you just make a decision on what should be rough when you model this and what makes sense to have. But overall, you should obviously keep this in your portfolio because it's not a bad piece at all. It's obviously good.
Just if you can, because on my side it's not absolutely not my I'm not my specialty. Like show it to a senior modeler just to make sure that your edge flow and stuff like that is really strong, because it will be the first thing the guy will look at. Like he will look at your mesh. Is the edge flow make sense, the way he model it and stuff like that? Right now I can't answer it because I'm not really good at it. So, but yeah, this is something you have to be sure, especially if you show it like this, like put the emphasis on it. Like you have to be sure that your edge flow and your modeling is good.
Most of it looks pretty clean.
It seems, yeah, but yeah.
But it's been 10 years since I did any modeling, so but yeah, the basic of edge flow and everything is still the same. Yeah, it's good. Any last comments from Arthur or yourself? No? Good. Youssef, was that useful, hopefully?
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you very much.
You're not crying or anything, right? We were kind, I hope.
No. I don't know, do I sound sad?
No, just making sure, because we are this time around we're not saying what's good all the time. We're mostly saying what you need to fix. But
you can look at other like mother portfolio, like weapon artists and stuff like that. There sometimes they just like they have a strong mesh only with a flat like clay material kind of, just to show all the cool detail with a cool AO on it. It's something you can definitely look at just to get inspiration.
All right, next up, Mr. Vishesh.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I'm here.
So you both have access. Arthur, you also have the link, right? It's on top of the portfolio review. So if you have to look at it ahead of time, take some time, look at it before anything. He has a lot of pieces, so select something. While you guys think about it, I'm gonna not be nice and pick up one piece that really stands out, which he probably put on the middle on purpose, which is this one. It stands out.
Sorry, which one is okay, this one. Okay.
So for me, this one stands out the most in your whole portfolio, also because of the different ratio and presentation, but also it has a lot of blue and orange, and the color palette for me, also because of the type of scene it is. For me, it doesn't really make sense. All this color palette, these reflections are showing stuff that you probably didn't want to show to begin with. It's super blue and reflective overall for me anyway. Your video obviously looked a little bit better when you showed it, but I think it's a very saturated. Yeah, the shadow as well.
It feels a bit old school, like old CGI render kind of. Yeah.
Like I do had some doubts about certain pieces which I wanted to remove, but I just wanted to get an opinion on them before removing them. So this is probably one of them, and I have some other ones. So let me know. I'll just let you know which ones I wanted to remove, so you can just like advise me. Shall I do it or not?
Yeah, can you not tell us which one you want to remove? We can focus on those.
Just a second. Yeah, definitely. So for the removal, shall I share my screen so it would be easier for me to mark everything at once?
Sure.
Yeah.
Just a second. Let me know when it's visible.
I need to switch. Regardez. Okay.
It's visible.
Okay. So yeah, for removal, the main things would be like these two, some of the older pieces which I did, which I'm not at comfort like.
I kind of like the field one, the one on the left.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know, like when I see like this, it seems like I want to click and see what's inside. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, it feels interesting.
That's great. So yeah, that's what I just wanted to share. So these are like my opinions,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not that confident. So that's why I just wanted to get advice on if I shall keep them or not.
Okay.
These two, and then one would be this one because these are some of the older things when I was learning lighting. So I didn't really know a lot about them.
Okay.
So these were my initial pieces. So
1, 2,
I
3,
hope
4.
like you all can see that.
Yeah, let me.
If it's for lighting only, like I'll remove the shader ball, like
Okay,
this one. I don't
sure.
know what you yeah, I don't know what you're showing inside. I had the same before and I just remove it because
Okay,
it's yeah, and maybe the one on the left also that yeah, this one, the box, the green box with the yeah.
okay.
Uh, Maybe what you can for the red like
This one.
moving restaurant. Yeah, this one it's kind of cool. Maybe you can rework the lighting of this one. Maybe light the small lantern and stuff like that. Do a cool small diorama. Might be cool,
Yeah, this is a little diorama. I guess it's not visible in the thumbnail, but
but a bit more
you
moody. It seems like yeah, you have kind of a strong light coming from above. It could you should yeah, might be cool to see the small lantern.
sure, definitely.
Um,
I'll have to see if I still have the access to this file because it was made in somewhat around 2018 or 17 something.
Yeah.
So I'll have to
Other
check.
than that, maybe I'll remove it if it was like
Okay,
just for yeah.
sure.
Uh,
If I were to look at just the thumbnails, I would remove this one.
I can't. Your screen is white.
Yep, it's white, just like me. No, wait, I'm not white. Hold on.
should we look at your stream, Amit?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll just stop sharing my screen.
Sure. Let me just fix my windows because they are being screwed up. White.
Where's the live?
Stop stream. Share my screen. 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 And screen. That should be better, right?
Yep, now it's visible.
Cool. So I will remove this one. This one. This one. This one. This one. This one.
Let
Yeah.
me note that down side by side so it would be easier
I'm
for
not
me.
sure about the close up of the eye just on the left of the right side of the eagle.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Just he has two of
Not
them.
this one, yeah, because we don't have much cool reflection on the eye, or like you know a ring light or something like that. Something cool to
Okay.
reflect. Maybe it will
Yeah.
be cool if you wanna.
Uh-huh.
This one is better, but yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I that's a good point. Let's remove this one too because you have two of them, and this one is the
Yeah,
better one, I guess. So it's no point having this one around.
Okay.
Let me just.
I'll do the from if it was me, I'll do the inverse, like remove the first one and keep the other one. But it's just like, yeah,
You would remove this one.
yeah, I don't know. It feels like it reminds me like the old Heavy Rain
Hmm.
kind of the look. Like it's
But
like I
you
don't
will
know.
keep this one.
Yeah, maybe instead, but I'm not sure about like both of them. I'm not sure.
Yes, okay, that's a good enough reason to remove both of them.
Yeah,
If we can't agree, you remove
I'm not
both.
sure.
Uh,
Just maybe we work a bit like the lighting and also what you wanna. You can
Yes.
like tell pretty cool stuff in terms of storytelling if you reflect the scene inside the eye.
So,
Yeah,
so Arthur is also on the portfolio review. He's saying remove the tree one I crossed over or change
yeah,
it
yeah,
to
yeah,
another
yeah,
screenshot. And he's saying
yeah, definitely.
use a different thumbnail for the face if you're gonna keep it.
Yeah.
Okay, this one.
Yeah, you can see
Uh,
he's. I'm just
yeah, I
I'm
just
just
checked it out.
repeating it for the stream really, but because I don't want to
Uh-huh.
go back and forth sharing the screens.
Yeah.
What else?
Can you click on the green one with? Okay.
Sorry, I'm just checking very quickly. So one of the issues I have with with your portfolio, you're showing this, but then if you scroll down, you have other stuff. and it says light studies. I personally don't like multiple different images when people post this. I normally post this as a blog. If I'm doing this, I rather have a blog post to look at than put it inside a portfolio. The question is, do you have a blog? A little bit.
I was just starting off that.
7 months ago. Cool. So I would personally, I would put those kind of light studies into the blog, but that's just me. It's nothing like right and wrong. It's just if I look at this, I wouldn't necessarily click it just to find out what are the other stuff. You know, people are busy, because these are pretty cool, light studies. So you want to make sure they are,
Can I see? Can you click again? I want to see just the image, like the wall with the silhouette. Yeah, just want to see the. Okay.
I mean, there's probably more, but my main idea here is to cut down your portfolio. So maybe cut away this one.
Yeah, I will remove
this
the
one.
props.
Okay. This whole thing is being recorded, right?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely perfect.
But for you, it costs £500 to get the video. Just kidding.
I'll just
Can you click on the last one you crossed, like the green one with the, I don't know, the animal? Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of his older PCs. This a year ago. Personally, I don't think you should keep it.
But there is something. It's interesting in terms of storytelling.
Yes.
Like, I kind of like the scene itself, but yeah, it needs more work in terms of lighting.
I think it's good storytelling, interesting. I totally agree. But because he is trying to be a lighting artist, I will first look at the lighting before I look at the story.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, if you can't rework it or don't want to rework it, I'll probably remove it for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think you need to keep this one either.
Okay.
But again, this is just personally. Also, I'm trying to cut down your portfolio to only first row. You don't need this many.
Yeah, that's what I was concerned. So that's why I just wanted to have a portfolio review just to like refresh it.
Yeah, so Arthur is agreeing that the egg and the mushroom are good stuff, and those should be their own stuff. They shouldn't be hidden behind this light study.
Yeah. It's even more interesting than maybe this one.
Okay.
So
like what are your opinions on like posting them as a separate post?
Yeah,
or
just if you still have the if you still have them, do a couple of shots, renders some more, make some different. I would tilt the camera for the thumbnail probably, but and show maybe your setup, which I've noticed a lot of people don't do. But please, at least when I have been looking for a lighting artist, I do want to see your lighting setup and see how many lights do you have, how is your optimization. So there's something I've noticed that a lot of lighting artists don't do, and I don't think that's a good thing. You should be able to sell yourself very quickly, that it's not just a pretty thing. You understand optimization, you understand light map resolution, you understand all these things, and I think that's very important. I'm saying this, but half of my pieces do not have it.
Yeah, it's the same. It's almost like if you wanna. Yeah, it might be cool if you apply for a video game job. I don't know really how it is in the in movie industry, but I mean, the less you have, the better. Like the less, it's better if you have less light than more. But
I was also I wanted to see if I shall. I guess I shall remove these because these are my
I mean, I like the Vista. This one is cool, but I don't understand why there is the other stuff. Yeah. This I'm not sure how. Yeah.
Okay. I'll just remove these ones. Just keep the Vista.
But the Vista is kind of cool.
The Vista is cool.
Sure.
But you can keep the Vista, but because there's so many pieces in it, you wanna, as Arthur also suggested, pick one of the images and then present it properly rather than because you're assuming everyone is going to click on everything. No one's going to click. I'm never going to click on all of these. If I'm recruiting someone, I'm going to look at some key ones and then that's it. So that's why you want to, even I was cleaning my portfolio 2 weeks ago, and I always try and make sure I have the first row available.
This one is a bit
something.
flat
Yeah,
too.
something's going on here as well in terms of lighting. It's
We're missing some shadows and stuff like
there are
that.
also some issue with the materials. It's like this one is probably
Yeah.
metal, but it looks super rough and matte. The black.
Almost unlit like.
Yeah, the black is too black.
Uh-huh.
Okay, it's your movie reference.
Yep.
So I think we have to consider that if you followed your reference as you wanted to.
That's the second one is it's kind of cool. This one maybe I'll
Reshuffle them.
but I'll make the light coming from those electrical arc, like I'll make a bit stronger, like brighter. I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of the reason I see that with a lot of lighting artists. It's just too people are very uncomfortable, making things brighter. This is pretty cool because you're allowing yourself to have some brightness to deal
Yeah.
with the contrast.
Yeah.
But in this other piece, you're avoiding it, and even though the light might be diffused because of these are obviously you picked the fluorescent lights, and here you
If you look at your reference, you have
Super.
strong contrast, highlights, rim lights, and stuff like that. It's
Okay.
also, this is just a personal note, and I'm not saying this is correct, but if you have a reference with a lot of character, but you are lighting interior, I would try and look for more other references to make it clear that you're not trying to light the character, or because it's different when you light the character and you're lighting an environment. That's obviously two different workflow. Also in cinema, obviously, it's not the same. So you probably want to keep that in mind too.
Sure.
What's this?
Oh, this was the modeling that I told you.
Well, then you don't need it. Go
Okay.
go away.
Let me just take a quick screenshot of all these.
But you have cool pieces like cool stuff.
Oh, thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, he's a good lighting artist. I've told him to make us some videos for this macro lighting. Yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, I don't want to remove too much, but generally you wanna. Some of the shots are maybe worth keeping, but this one, as I said, you can change this with the two other egg and mushroom instead.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this one has a very boring thumbnail, to say the least, for me.
Mm-hmm.
Arthur said, "Love your stuff."
Well, thanks a lot, Arthur.
Yeah, it is good stuff. I think most of us know it's, good.
This one maybe there is too many sprint from shot from the same.
I would put this one.
As a thumbnail.
Yeah, as the first
Okay.
one. I
Okay.
think that's more eye-catching.
But I'm not sure you'll see the stars like this with the sun just still in the sky.
No, probably not.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure not.
Because the
Yeah.
lighting is off in terms of night and daytime.
Yeah.
So because of that,
Create cross.
yes. If it's not perfect.
No, but I mean you can. No, there is no. You're no. I will not remove it. Maybe it's just some of the image
one
inside.
cross. We just one
It's just a half cross.
half cross. But let's acknowledge the fact that you have a lot of good pieces.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So I don't think it hurts for you. In your case, it doesn't hurt if you remove a piece because it has one weakness. In your case, it's okay to be this strict because you have other solid pieces. That's why I'm being a bit strict with you. Is because you have enough. You can cut down. If you just had one row, I wouldn't be this strict and say remove all of them. Right? I would try and keep the best pieces. But you have so many other that are so much better. There's no reason for you to keep all of it because your weakest piece is what's gonna catch my attention, right? It's not the strongest piece.
In the beginning. Yep.
Arthur.
Sure, I'll just note it down.
Arthur picked the piece that you won. You remember we had this community reel when we started Lighting Bot, and you he picked one of the he picked the pot thing you did, which was the time when we were doing the community reviews, community highlights of our members.
I kind of like all your I don't know in English your nature morte, like it's cool. Just the way you lit your
It's very obvious.
The mushroom, the egg.
Yeah, you have two skills that to me stands out from other. That's your macro lighting. I think is solid. I think you should stick to it to stand out. But you should obviously practice, the bigger scenes as well a bit more. I think you are more better at macro lighting and very specific shots than you are on bigger environments. I noticed. So I would practice that if I were to give you some helpful advice. And you're very comfortable with realistic lighting, I've noticed. But when it comes to creative lighting or colorful lighting, I can see you need to practice more color theory and balance of saturation, desaturation, or color to pick. These are my observations anyway, and I'm not saying I'm correct, but this is what I think when I look at your portfolio. That's why I crossed over. That's why I crossed over most of your non-realistic pieces as well.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Just to give you some arguments to my decision-making process. So was that useful?
Yeah, definitely. It was a lot useful.
Cool. Arthur or Corentin, do you have any final words?
No, cool. That's a cool portfolio. Yeah.
Yeah, you are definitely on the right track.
Yeah. Well, Arthur said that he will choose another thumbnail for
I just saw that for the part one.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, Arthur.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, this one has a thumbnail.
Yeah.
Sure, I can change that easily.
But on your own time, what you want to try and do, personally, I would cut it down to one row.
Okay.
If you can decide yourself the rest of the pieces, but
the first thing, like for me, after this, the first thing would be just to clean up all the things that I mentioned here, and then I'll see which one of the pieces are left, and possibly select from those and rearrange some of the pieces just to create an interest row, some interesting pieces in the beginning, and then some of the not that interesting.
What you could do to save space and have one row is to, you could do what you did here, which I said not to do, is have like a lot of them in one. But then if you want to do that, you need a very good thumbnail showing them all, like two of them or four of them, maximum 4. So if you gather like in some of the places where you have like a lot of these doodles, and if you want to keep it, even though we said some of them you shouldn't keep, but at least these two, if you want to keep them, just make a thumbnail and show both of them, like in this way you can like have a line like this, you can have one there. There's a lot of way you can present it.
I actually tried doing that, but since all of them are drastically different from each other, so that wasn't looking good overall, so I had to cut down to and choose just a single image as a
then you just make a single image as well. Same here as well. We can have maybe two image. It comes down to your ratio choice as well when you take the screenshots, obviously. But you have a lot, and you want to present things better. So I would be comfortable removing this, for example, and just have this one.
I kind of like it, the other one, like the one you.
Yeah, I don't dislike it.
The stronger.
I don't dislike this image. I'm just saying.
It remind me like old paint, like the Caravage, like strong contrast and
For me, it's
this one, the skull.
For me, it's the presentation, because his thumbnail shows only this. His
or maybe
text
put another in another.
And then in the middle of this he shows this, and then suddenly he shows this again. You know.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Maybe do another post or yeah. Okay, I understand what you mean.
Maybe I can just try adding a blog post for these multiple images, so it would be like easier and much more cleaner. This is the one I'll remove.
Yeah.
Because this was like one of my first 1 or 2 pieces which I
I
did.
hope these are non-shadow
that
casting point lights.
I don't remember at all.
Uh,
This time, because at that time I was still learning, I didn't know a lot about lighting. I didn't even know like how to light a proper scene. It was just of experimenting.
Cool. Let's do that then. Let's
never-
get rid of this
Yep.
one too. I think that's good. I think you will have. I am tempted to cross over this one too, but should we do it? I don't know. So
Sure,
I think at least if we try to agree, because let's like use lime green. This one is good. This one is good. This one is good. Good. Half good. Good. Half good. I haven't even clicked inside. I'm just looking at the thumbnail. Good.
Yeah.
Half good. Half good from was it Leotis who did. So
The Vista is half good too. You just have to remove the.
This one?
No, on the left side.
This one?
On the left.
This
yeah,
one?
yeah, I can like the Vista.
Yeah, just move the other images.
So one
half good.
green line like this from
Cool.
from him.
Can you share this image and send it over like in a chat or send it over in a personal message?
Or
shall I take a screenshot?
You want me to send you this?
Yeah, or I can just take a screenshot.
No, I
and
can
then
post
just-
it on the portfolio review, so everyone
Yeah,
everyone can see
that
what
would be
happened.
Yep.
You can be
The art station massacre.
cool. Let's be quick. We've already been going for a while, so let's speed up the process a little bit. Let's go over to Asfar. And because I want to be quick.
Everyone silent or something with my audio?
No. It's just on my side. I'm just
Okay.
looking at it and now, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just thought everyone missed this, so silent is already.
No, just watching the video for Asfar.
Yeah.
So, yes. What do you two think, Kanta and Mr. Akhtar?
Yeah, for me, it's almost not the same comment as before. Like some of the image feels a bit like an old school style of CGI render, like strong contrast, a lack of GI bounce, and also an issue with the materials in general. We don't feel like it don't feel like really it don't feel PBR kind of for a realistic render like. Yeah, there is on this one there is an issue with the bulb. There is multiple stuff here and there. You can I don't know if you want to stop on each image and we can discuss about it. Or...
Sure. We can look at the first one. This one.
Yeah, for example, this one there is it's a bit I don't know too contrasty. Like we don't feel it's almost like it's the same material on all the assets. Yeah, the lack of transparency on the leaves. Yeah, the strong the vignetting. I think it's really it's too strong. Yeah, I don't know, guys, if you want to jump in.
I think if I were to remove something from this reel, I would probably remove this one first.
Yeah.
and I'll be very quick actually. This one I would probably also remove.
The spiders attract the attention too much.
Yeah.
Like it's wow. Is it in front of the camera? Is it a real one or is it on the wall?
This is the also comes down to composition. You know, you have you're trying rule of third one way or another, but then you have a big scale. You know, there's a scaling conflict going
Yeah.
on. On top of that, you have a leading line using the sun leading towards the spider as well unconsciously. So there's all these nuances. You have the light which is it's lacking depth as well. So I don't know why there's a light on this chair, because is it very close? Is this light over the top?
Yeah, you don't know if the light is far away or just above the chair. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of these things, and then there's like white light over there, and there's like I don't know what these two fairies are doing, flying around, or what's going on, but that's confusing me a little bit. Other than that, it's not as it's better than this one. This one
Yeah.
is better than this one.
Maybe the ambient occlusion or the contrasts are too strong, especially on the sorry, the seat, like the couch or the.
So Otto says if you color grade this one might be better, and that's true. You can fix some of these images with color grading and exposure.
Probably,
yeah. So when I say remove it, that's if you don't want to put in the work to do it. That's when you remove stuff. This one I would definitely remove. I don't think you can save it with color grading even. You can maybe save it with levels and exposure, because it's super bright everywhere. You know, it's then you have suddenly you have this bright light here, but you have light everywhere. Compositionally, it's not the best composition either. I think could probably have a different composition. So if you were to save time and you had to remove one piece, I would say I would probably remove this one as well. And I think this one works, except maybe this one.
Yeah, it's the only the bulb, the light bulb is like there is something wrong.
Other than I like it. I think it's probably your best piece.
Yeah.
So I would maybe edit the light bulb. Other than that, maybe even make it.
And
off.
you can see the difference here is that you have a strong sunlight coming from the window and bouncing everywhere, and it's like you have less like strong shadows, and it's not that contrasty. Like
And I'm just gonna open this one because I haven't watched this video, so I'll watch it later. I think this is. I wouldn't say it's bad. It's creative. I mean, I like it. It's fancy lighting in that sense. Is it the best lighting? That's a different topic. Is it worth keeping? I think it's okay to keep it. Really. It's a risky, the color choices you've made for the car. The issue though, from maybe David knows this more actually, since he does Volkswagen related stuff, but generally you're supposed to show the actual material of the car if this was like a presentation of a car. Right now I can't tell what the actual color of the car is. Like if I were to look at this as a presentation and I want a blue car, a green car, a purple car, I wouldn't know based on all this lighting. So that's the only issue I have if this was like a actual sales promo video of the car. I don't know if you show it at the end driving out and then it's white, which you don't. Other than that, I personally don't mind it. What about you two?
He's on mute, like Gordon.
Well,
sorry. Same as Amit. You can keep it. It's a personal taste. Like I'm not sure about the color you pick and stuff like that, but I mean it's more like a personal taste. Yeah, I kind of like when I know it's difficult, but what I like when I see the render like this, like when the car is moving and all the light are reflecting on it, like phew, phew, stuff like this, like make the faking the movement. But I mean, you can, I don't know if you can change it, like if it's but yeah, you can. I'm pretty sure you can keep it like this. Maybe
Arto says it might be better to remove the green color because green is also
yeah,
the most obvious color. It's like it stands out. It breaks the eye and the
yeah,
focus because it's black, and then there's dark blue and there's dark
yeah,
purple.
it's right.
So in terms of color palette, I think that might be one of the reasons Artus is suggesting it. But at least that's
Yeah.
my understanding. The minute he wrote that is. It's really leading the eye towards that's bright green, and green, you know, that kind of green is super bright generally if you
Yeah.
when you look at this kind of stuff. And you can see it here as well. It takes a lot of the attention in front as well.
I'm not sure about the flares like coming from the light, but
And Arthur said you can play around the planar light for better specular on car surfaces, which I think is the same as area light and rectangular light, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Depending on the software.
Like most of these car commercials have like usually a lot of these rectangular lights on
But
top.
this is done in Maya, so it's probably called planar light in Maya, I guess. What's this? I think this is cool. The only issue I have is your shadows are going upwards here.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's suggesting you have some fake light going up.
And also like the HDRI, it feels like almost like a fake panel behind the window. Yeah, there is an exposure issue though. The sky should be way brighter if you expose the scene like this.
Yeah, brighter sky, higher quality HDR, not so much depth of field. It's actually more interrupted. You maybe want to dim down the depth of field, especially because it's taking away the focus on the bottle here. And obviously, when you do lighting, you want to make sure that you don't have upward shadow. That's like, at least for me and anyone else, after I mention it, is very noticeable. It doesn't make sense to have strong indirect bounce and the shadow go up. It's really, light never goes up unless you are the one who put the light there. So for me, it's a bit odd, I suppose. But it might be the indirect lighting chose it, but then I would still get rid of it and make sure it goes, like, you can see they're all going a bit upwards for some reason.
And also the text attract the attention. I'm not sure about the text, like yeah.
Other than that, I think you could keep this one too, actually. It's just the blurry, the sky is very... A lot of people get this wrong when they do the lighting, and I used to do it too, so don't get me wrong. But the bright, if you look at, especially even paintings actually, but good photography and paintings as well, even movie references, or if you take a camera and you take a good, decent, normal photo, the sky tends to be the brightest, right? And a lot of people are afraid of it because they go, why? But you just said that the key light should be the brightest. Well, that comes down to your lighting skills and balancing everything, and exposure, and line of sight and composition, and how you place all this stuff. So it's definitely something to think about. You could... I have no problem with the foreground either, which Arthur says he doesn't either, but at the same time, pay attention to line composition of leading lines. So these are kind of going tiltways, sideways. These are going sideways. These are kind of going sideways. This is kind of going sideways. This is kind of going sideways. But at the same time, they are pretty straight. So if you angle everything a little bit more, everything will go towards the window back and forth. So it might improve your composition more if you enhance that kind of compositional thing. And if you look at Arthur, he's being very helpful and going into Photoshop or whatever and grayscaling stuff for you. If you look at the grayscale, you can see it's pretty flat in the sense that the sky is almost the darkest actually. So it's definitely something to work on. Uh, um, well, live match. Okay. I think the same comment here in that you could probably manipulate the image a bit more. It has this. Look that is like it's very dark and I normally see this look when people use too much sharpness or clarity filter or in editing programs.
Oh yeah.
That's what I see
Yeah.
when I look at this
Yeah.
it's this burnt look to it, I suppose. It's
Mhm.
don't see it often anymore, but this is what I notice with this image.
Yeah.
And that makes it obviously stand out as well because it's okay. I would
And yeah, and also yeah, it's a bit it's too flat. Everything feels in the same yeah.
yeah, it's flat and compositionally again everyone needs to focus on composition as well. I don't care if you're a lighting artist, 3D modeler, you know, if you have more than one thing in the scene, you definitely want to think about composition. Even one thing, you know, just the rotation of it, everything matches. And we're not expert on it ourselves. We're not saying we're expert. We're just saying we notice it. There's a problem. There's overlapping objects. You have something in the background. You have something on the right side. You have something in the middle. You know, it's lacking the depth immediately. So looking at concepts such as foreground, midground, background, it would be useful here as well to understand this kind of stuff. Yeah, that's it. Any thoughts? Final thoughts? Anyone?
Well, no, I mean,
good.
I'm not sure if you should rework all this image. Instead, maybe produce more stuff, and if you can, replace stuff. It would be like, I think, the best approach. Yeah.
Cool. Esfa, are you even here, or did you leave after posting? I don't know actually. Well, either way. He agrees with Arthur, also agrees with us. Cool. So far we have been somewhat very diplomatic in agreeing, I've noticed. Which is good. Sometimes we agree a lot, sometimes we don't. Fahad, let's see. So keep in mind when you write, I've noticed this actually. Some of you noticed I'm recruiting for my company and building my lighting team, and I've noticed a lot of people that are posting and showing interest don't even have lighting artists on the tag, and their work isn't even lighting artists. So they're showing me a hard surface and 3D environment. It says they are not lighting artists. The work doesn't represent it, but they're trying to get the job.
Yeah.
That's a no for me. So it just happens to be Fahad who reminded me, because it's a good example of the stuff I've been getting. And I do want to remind people that you don't show interest in the role if you're not actually doing the work ahead of time, and that's your focus. If you're just looking for a work, I for one can notice it very quickly. If you're just looking to get in or looking for work and not really passionate about certain things. So, what do you think? I'm guessing this is the reference, or no?
Yeah, it's I don't remember the name of this artist. I know this paint.
So I guess he inverted it. He made this white and this red on purpose.
Yeah, I kind of. If you put the reference, try to match it, not in terms of the shader you use, but in terms of like color grading and the mood in general. It feels the one above is like really saturated. There is a strong contrast.
Yeah, it's also obviously because of the type of red. This is a reflective saturated red, that's correct. This one is cloth, and this is a desaturated. It's not the same red even. The same with the reference has more blue in direct light.
Yep.
This has almost no color blue at all. Reference has sharp shadow. This one has more blurred diffuse shadow. The shadows are brighter in the reference. Here is more contrasty, as you said as well. It's
Yeah.
darker. Same with the red colors. It's not the same red. Now, obviously, we are saying these things, but you can go into Photoshop and you can do a color picker. I can guarantee you, it's not the same. This reflection here, and there's no obvious type of reflection here. It's has a more of a nice smooth reflection of the surface. Here it's a bit conflicting. You see this reflection here, and then there's another square reflection here. I'll let Arthur write as well. So Arthur would at least desaturate the background. So he would desaturate this, and he would desaturate this area. So he also thinks something should be desaturated. Yeah, I think the water is also super reflective, or no?
Yeah, it
It's
is.
like almost mirror-like.
Yeah.
So maybe not have it so mirror-like.
And you have cool, like on I like on the illustration, you have some some blue reflection and caustic, like on the sculpture coming from the water. If you look at the illustration,
Yeah.
but yeah, this is really cool. Kind of like it.
Yeah, it's definitely lacking, as Arthur saying, bounce or influence on the car shadow, and also I do notice this little lens flare effect on the right corner. It stands out to me as well.
Yep.
You also don't have all these highlights in the reference, or these four lights are super white as well. It's like a lot. So that's another thing I notice. So this one is your white version, according to your reference, I suppose.
I kind of prefer this one. Yeah, the white one. But there is an issue with the red light. It's almost like an elite like lack of material.
Yeah.
Almost if you paint those stripes like
Now,
after.
yeah, and in this one for me, he lost the reflection. Here was too much. Here's almost nothing. Okay, there is some reflection.
Yeah.
Now I would use a cube mesh or something with this particular type of model, because if you look at the reflection of this car, you see a city, and you see the other side of the entrance. So I would try and replicate that kind of look here.
Yeah.
Or you can just place the wall on the other side too, so you actually get the reflection. Yeah. So that's that.
This one is cool.
Yeah, it's not bad. Maybe a bit boring in the background, but
yeah,
maybe wouldn't necessarily choose to have a lens flare here.
And you have the two suns, the suns, but you have a strong light coming from the right side, so you don't understand really. Is this a planet with three suns, or
Also, just for the record, in terms of your modeling, hard surface is good. Probably would have more detail in your over here. According to the references, there's more detail.
Yeah, maybe the panel are a bit too smooth, like
too like old.
the paneling detail. If you look at this illustration,
Sharper.
it's sharper, yeah, and the small the carving are really they are a bit like
it's
thinner.
Yeah, they need to be sharper. If I just take a quick comment on your 3D stuff, since you're also doing 3D. I don't mind. I don't mind this one. It looks pretty cool. Maybe some more. It does have interesting detail. It looks pretty cool. I don't have an actual reference here. I see, but in terms of lighting, it's not bad. I mean, you wouldn't have this sharp shadow normally, and this long.
Yeah.
This color will probably have more orange. Even here you can see there's some orange, so I would probably enhance that a little bit. But if it's this kind of time of the day, you don't necessarily have this sharp shadow, and I would maybe consider removing this rock, because it's a very huge contrast because of that, the closeness of this rock, and then suddenly you see the shadow continue. I noticed it here as well. The scaling is a bit misleading, no? Well, because here it looks like it's a big rock, and then
It's
it's just different angle.
for me it seems okay, like better than the one we saw before, like the spacecraft. We can I feel like it's a small robot, like yeah.
It's just different angles, I think.
Yeah.
So maybe consider how many angles you would actually look. So Otto says
I would prefer
consistent ratio.
consistent.
So there's a kind of saying
Yeah.
the same thing in that.
Yeah, true.
And how would you guys define like the off the camera lighting setup? Like so the orange kind of lighting and the bright highlight. So the thing that I was going for was there's something like a base on the other side behind the camera, which has like a flood lighting and like a smaller, smaller lamps that were like projecting the light from the right side of the image. So like a kind of like a fill light.
I mean, it has to. For me, it has to, because you're doing it in the way of doing it outside. It needs to be motivated lighting. This detail that you feel like you did does not feel motivated to me because it's a very specific spot. If I saw this color all over the place and it kind of bled in, it would be different. And if I saw it affect this bit more, it would be different. Also, because it's warm light, it's suggesting, it's later in the day. I would expected this one specular to be warm, not white. So this one I would have preferred to have this color. Like I would have focused a little bit more on the color palette. But at the same time I wouldn't, because normally when the material is orange, I would avoid orange lighting as well because of the intensification of the color of the light, color of the material, and I would avoid the opposing color as well to avoid color mixing, so you don't lose the information of the material. Basically, these are the two things I personally avoid when there's colorful materials involved. But here you have like everything is the same color, so I would maybe try a different time of day, maybe work on the rim light or the specular lights, maybe the composition.
Maybe make the small red lens, like all the three eyes he have, like maybe a bit the emissive a bit brighter.
But it's not the bad work
detail,
at all.
No, it's pretty cool.
It's just
on this. It's fine. That's why I just shared it.
Yeah. I do think there needs to be also consistency in your lighting, like the time of day, the direction of the shadow, because these are long. This is a long shadow, but this one tells me something else. This warm light specifically here tells me something else. This shadow that's going very long shows me something else in terms of the direction. Your background again, the intensity of the sky, but also the color tells me something else. So there is like in my head there's something that's not matching in terms of color, also direction of the light. So I think there's room to improve there, but that's just my brain, because I look outside the window in the morning here in London. I have a lot of this orange light in the mornings here, sunrise color. And there's
I really like the reflection on the where you have your the mouse from on the feet.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, I kind of like this, almost like a model kit, like I don't know, on paint. I don't know. It's cool. I kind of like this scene.
It's cool. For me, the conflict happens because this is a cool color, but the light here is so what I'm trying to express is there's inconsistency in your color choice and the direction of the light. So those are the things I would work on to really make it feel like it's one environment, one place, and one lighting scenario. I don't feel it is in this case. I feel it's more. I feel it's you just put it there and you put in some lights and you can you can play around with the composition as well because it's a flat environment, so it just stops in the background. So stuff like that.
Arthur writes something.
Yeah, so he's also saying some soft shadow is needed.
Yeah, soft shadow.
Long shadow. So we're essentially picking on the same things. So I do.
It's something we saw a lot from since we started the review, like the lack of soft shadow. Don't hesitate to play with your light radius and the source radius, and yeah.
I'm not really sure about this rock being right there in this specific shot. I would probably have removed this specifically for this shot, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe.
It's really disturbing me here as well. It's like, I don't mind it here. I think it fits here because of composition and angle of light and camera. But in these two spots, it's like the foreground is blurred. You see this, and then there's this black spot in the middle of a rock somewhere, which is also a different saturation. You know, it stands out in terms of color as well. But these are my observations and mine alone. The model is cool.
Not mine. Courtesy of Adobe.
Well, that's cool. That's why it's cool, because someone who knows how to do it.
Actually, it's mine though.
Well, there you go. It's cool.
Going for.
So Arthur is also mentioning the same thing with the background is being like it just stops in it just stops. There's nothing. So you want to have more scale to show that, you know, you're up
Bit
in
of
the mountain
vistas, yeah.
and stuff like that. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. Same problem as previously mentioned. These are like super bright light, but the room is different. The light is different. Obviously,
The AO is too strong. Like,
it's pretty strong.
yeah.
AO bright, fixture light too bright. Your radius of the AO is definitely too large as well. The range is too much. I think you kept it on 200 probably. You can go down to 20 even sometimes.
Yeah, that's the old school post-process effects from Unity.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
And it's a bit too noisy though. Like you have some pattern on the here on the wall everywhere.
Yeah, on the green settings in post-processing. It's just for the images I took. In VR, there's nothing like that. Like it's like a pretty much flat bake lighting. And
So here's the thing with
this one. I'm not sure.
Here's the thing. Even though you are doing a 2D environment, a hard surface artist, the minute you have poor lighting, it ruins your work, right?
Yeah,
That's what makes me sad. I think you do a good job in what you're focusing on, but the fact that the lighting is really taking away the whole attention from your work, like the spotlight with the radius, and then you have something going here as well, the bright light, then you have very dim warm light, there's a bright light here, and then, you know, it lights up but it doesn't light the wall.
Yeah, it doesn't light around.
And as Konto said, the ambient occlusion is an overkill. So there's a lot of notes here in terms of lighting, and the compositionally as well. Maybe you should have tilted more to the right if the focus was this chair lighting, right? So you would show more of the right side rather than the whole room as well. There's again the same as in your other piece. There's conflicting color palette for the lighting. It's like white, some places is orange, and then you have the materials which are just kind of the same tone.
A lack of material variation too, like everything feels like matte material, like we don't see much roughness. Metal, everything feels like.
It was this was done for VR, mobile VR. So
okay.
Yeah, so you practically have like a room for flat shading. So there are no normal maps unless you're doing some custom shader work, like, you know, from programming.
That's fine. That's fine. You could still change the stuff that was mentioned, and it's very flat in general. So you would have avoided it if you used the same spotlight, but you know, you could have it non-shadow. You could increase the angle.
I think Arthur said something.
He says he agrees, and even the fill light throughout the room needs some work. So yeah, that's our.
And also the screenshot after, I don't was like
this one. Also the thumbnail. Is not really. You showed. the part you don't want to show, which is these holy bright lights. Same here, definitely the one update. This one is okay, but you can again, as Arthur said earlier, improve the ratio, show more of the full image. Here, same, work on the thumbnail, generally work on the thumbnail on all of your PCs. Quentin, you were saying something last?
Nope, no.
Okay. This one is fine. But lighting wise, you can always play around with lighting here, have some rim, some maybe some fill light, so it doesn't completely go into the darkness here. Other than that, I think it's fine. Don't want to spend too much time on this one. Same, it's pretty better AO, maybe not as harsh as the other one, but still can improve a little bit. Super bright here. Overkill, I would say, a bit too bright.
Yeah.
You have is that lights here? Not sure why you kept it on. So here it would be interesting to play with the fact that you have other light sources and dim this one, maybe make this one more bright. Also remember you have light from the outside. These are very violet.
Yeah, that's weird that the fact we don't have anything. Those window are
stops. It doesn't come in.
Yeah.
Would probably have worked on that as well. You have underlighting, that's fine in this case, but I'm not too bothered about this one. That's cool enough.
Not sure about the depth of field too. Maybe it's
too much. Yeah.
This one is more interesting. This one is way better.
Yeah, you have the motivated lighting from outside. Here is very difficult to see if there is any. But it also makes it very flat. You can almost lose the shape of the window because of the intensity of it. This one is blue. This one was orange. It inverted the color. That's interesting. Yeah, this is not bad. Very bright, but not bad. Probably want some reflection on that TV. Yeah. Same here. There's something going on with your reflection.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I mean.
Oh, it's
my God! I'm inside. Can I move around? Oh, I'm not allowed. Okay, just from here. Okay, let's look. Okay. Yeah. What's for this? Is the disco going in there? Is the pilot having a party?
Party cockpit.
That's so funny. Party. These two look kind of identically placed, so probably wanna make them a little bit more different than you did. Other than that, it's cool. Arthur, you are free to type whatever you want. So I'm gonna let Arthur.
This one I'm not sure. There is a lot of light coming from everywhere.
Yeah, before you say anything, just because we should critique him on one thing, because he says what he was trying to do here, so that's what we should critique on. He wanted to lead the player's eye to the entrance above, so we need to. So did he manage to do that? Is it too much? Are we looking everywhere? Did he succeed?
You have, I think you have too many lights around, and I'm not sure about you. You don't have, if the entrance is lit like this, you don't have to put all those spotlight lighting on the trees and everywhere coming from the side. Like you can have nothing and then just the light coming from the door, and your eye will go directly to it, and as a player you will tend to, okay, I'm pretty sure there is something over there, because now you have light coming from everywhere. Not sure.
Yep. Cool.
Less is more. Like I will reduce everything and try to keep like only something around the door.
Arthur, you must type. Arthur, type faster. Type faster. I agree. Too much fog.
Yeah, too much fog for sure. But yeah.
well, it's not really too much fog per se. It's the use of the fog and how it interacts with the light as well. That's the
Yeah.
issue. I agree. Could have just kept the door bright, and then the rest would have been moonlight with the correct ratio, a key
Mhm.
ratio versus the fill ratio, and the color. I think you have a tendency to use too purple light, blue light. When you try and pick blue light, I've noticed you have a more of a purple violet tone to it. This is my observation. Let me just change my take my off
Yeah.
glasses because
This spotlight, I don't understand because it feels like it's a medieval scene, like fantastic scene, and it's almost like we are in the park,
future.
you know, a garden, like, and we have spotlight lighting the trees and stuff. This the thing I don't understand.
Yeah, this is what I was actually going for, like
See,
like a kind of like
your third piece, the one with the moonlight, is a better one. This one. You should have focused on that type of lighting where you kept the door bright and then you kind of balanced the lighting up a little bit, you know. This one. When you the minute you added everything else, it was overkill, I think.
There is one image like on the GIF. If you go back, you can see at some point I think it's pretty it's enough, like near the end you only have the night and one light coming from the
This
door
one.
like this. Yeah, this one I think it's okay, like you can improve it, but you don't need to have those huge spotlight yellow, like
So you have to remember,
yeah,
fog normally flattens an image. I think people forget that it's all volumetric fog, but if you're not
Yeah.
controlling it in engine, mind you, because of the way it works, it will tend to flatten half of your image depending on the distance. And then you add the other lights, you're losing depth and everything, and you're losing contrast. And you have to remember the intensity of the fog. You know, it brightens the scene, it makes things bounce a bit more. And Otto says, want to prioritize the color saturation as well. Like the sky here is too blue. So is
Yep.
your light coming on the rocks here. It's too blue as well. I like the sky though. You could even make it a bit brighter, but everything else you want to dim down. I think you could have done a lot more. Definitely, it's a cool scene. I think you've made a cool scene or put together a cool scene, but there's a lot more you could have done to, again, color. It's too saturated. Tone it down a little bit. Pick the right colors. Use less than more. That goes for all of you.
Yeah, less is more. Always keep this in mind, like less is more.
Same here. The light.
This one I won't keep this, like.
Did you just say delete it?
Yeah, even the, I don't know, the thumbnail, like.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just quickly.
I'm
go
not
through
sure
them.
about this one.
It's pretty.
This one, it's not clear. What do you wanna well, I mean, you wanna show the robot, but
He's learning 3D code. I like 3D code, by the way. I like it much more than ZBrush. With animation ready, hanger done quickly. I mean, it's 4 years ago, so delete it. Get away. Go away. This one doesn't even work. Definitely delete it.
oh,
Fail.
lucky.
this one is going anyways. I
Oh,
actually
did you
intercept-
just do it?
Ah,
He's
you just did
sneaking.
it. Ah,
He's doing it while we were reviewing. He went in and deleted it.
like, that was the only odd. It was like a car I did like God knows what, like 7-8 years ago. I was still there, so I was like, this shouldn't be.
Fad was like, dude, these guys are super strict with their honest reviews. I gotta delete this before they get to it.
I'm sorry, guys. I will have to leave. Just I want to see this one. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
And
finished
after that, I need
after
to
this,
go.
so that's cool.
This one is kind of cool, though.
Yeah, a little. Again, this is color mixing because you probably have some green light. and
Yeah.
that's what I was telling earlier about understanding the material of your object and what color to pick. Otherwise, it mixes and you get this kind of mixing kind of color light, which you might
Yeah.
want, you might not want. That's really up to you. But
Maybe go with a more neutral
Yeah.
color, like
whitish.
because you want to show the texture.
Yeah, white would have worked better, I think.
Yeah.
What in the world is going on here? Is the mouse made a hole and it's like having a campfire in there? What's going on? I see. Okay, that did not come out clear over here. What it was. Yeah.
Can I ask a question real quick, by the way?
Sure.
To both of you guys. Before quarantine leaves, that's why I'm kind of rushing it. But it's about the portfolios that we've been reviewing and like how they would kind of compare to the portfolios that you would see in the industry, or people working in the industry, because like you guys are obviously critiquing a lot of things about our portfolios, and I was wondering if this is similar situation that we're in. Compared to people who are actually working in the industry right now, are their portfolios like completely perfect, or like is there a perfect
not at all.
portfolio?
I mean,